Well, I suspect we should get into Mr. Donald Trump first. We're going to try to make this short and sweet because I'm sure he'll give us plenty of content to come in the coming weeks and months. As we all know, Donald Trump has been found guilty, okay? He has been found guilty on 34 charges of falsifying business records. This happened last Thursday afternoon. And of course, he had a lot to say about it, saying that he hasn't done anything wrong, that he's going to appeal as he always does. But my concern is, okay, his sentencing is on July 11th. So is he going to appeal while he's in prison, or are they going to let his monkey butt walk around in these streets like he's been doing and appeal without going to jail and having to acknowledge that sentence? I really, really do hope that they send his butt to jail. But we'll see. Let me read a little bit of what CNN had to say about this jury's verdict. Per CNN News, a Manhattan jury found Donald Trump guilty of all 34 charges of falsifying business records Thursday. An unprecedented and historic verdict that makes Trump the first former president in American history to be convicted of a felony. Not only is Trump the first former president to be found guilty of a felony, he's also the first major party presidential nominee to be convicted of a crime in the midst of a campaign for the White House. Can you believe that? You would have thought our founding fathers would have kind of inked something in there that says, if you're a felon, you can't run for president. Just like if you're a felon, you can't vote. So can you imagine that? This man can run for president as a convicted felon of 34 charges, no less. Basically convicted 34 times, but he can't vote for himself. Now, only in America is something like this possible. But let me all go ahead and read on, child. The verdict in the hush money trial was announced after jurors deliberated for nearly 12 hours over 2 days, which really isn't that long, actually. I've seen cases deliberated for a week before they come to a decision. So they really didn't take that long to make their decision, but the evidence was there. It also says it will ultimately be up to voters in November to decide the significance of the guilty verdict delivered by 12 ordinary New Yorkers, which, on a legal basis, does not prevent him from being elected president again. Can you? Only in the United States is this possible, people. Okay, here's Trump. Here's a quote from Donald Trump after he was convicted. He said, "We didn't do anything wrong. I'm a very innocent man," Trump said after leaving the courtroom. "This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people, and they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here." Okay, that was just him repeating himself. The former president said, slamming the presiding judge and the prosecutor who brought the case. Okay, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, a Democrat, announced charges against Trump last year and presenting the first indictment of a former president, accusing him of falsifying the repayment of his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, in order to cover up a $130,000 payment Cohen made to adult film star Stormy Daniels. The gift that keeps on giving. And it was basically to keep her from speaking out about an alleged affair with Trump before the 2016 election. Trump has denied the affair. Child, he just gave her $130,000 out of the kindness of his heart. Oh my God. Basically, throughout the 7-week trial, the district attorney's office brought in 20 witnesses to illustrate to jurors how the hush money payment to Daniels was part of a pattern of payoffs to keep negative stories about Trump out of view before the election. And apparently it worked because he became president. Basically, it's just going on and on about all the evidence that came out in order to keep Stormy Daniels quiet, which was how the hush money was paid through Cohen. Cohen was the prosecution's key witness, describing how Trump directed him to pay Daniels and then approved the scheme to repay him in $35,000 monthly installments in 2017, an amount that was grossed up in part to account for taxes Cohen would have to pay. Oh, America, what are we going to do? Y'all need to get out and vote. I can't tell y'all who to vote for, but I can tell you to remember. I can tell you to remember the Muslim ban. I can tell you to remember how he kept the COVID-19 virus outbreak from us for almost 3 months. He was first informed in late January of 2020, and we didn't get word of it until mid-March. And then he shut down the entire country, which was pointless because at that point the virus had started to aggressively spread. But he kept that information from us for almost 3 months. I can tell you guys just to remember what hell we went through during the presidency of Mr. Trump. And then you can decide who you want to vote for. That's all I can say. Just make sure you vote, folks. Just make sure you vote. Donald Trump is scheduled to, it says here that Judge Juan Merchan set Trump's sentencing date for July 11th, 2024 at 10 a.m. And I'm going to be praying that it is not home detention, but that he actually gets to sit in a cell with an orange jumpsuit and think about what he did. He then had the nerve to say in another interview that this trial has been so hard on his wife Melania. I would have thought it was harder for you to deal with the fact that you paid $130,000 to keep your relationship with the adult star quiet. I would have thought that was harder on her. I'm sure she told you to be best after that. So this particular sentencing is going to be just days before the start of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Lord have mercy, child. Well, people, all I have to say is, just like I said, make sure you go out and vote. I am glad that they found him guilty. He still has a couple of other trials that he's going to, I think, what's this other trial? Yes, there's another trial in Georgia where Trump and 18 others were charged by Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis last year. All of them were charged under Georgia's Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations. It's a RICO charges. Trump faces 9 other charges in the case, and he has pled not guilty, of course, and denied any wrongdoing. So he has that trial in Fulton County in Georgia, and of course those mishandling of federal documents that he had stored in his garage or something. In Florida, he has a case on that in Florida. So he is in a big old mess right now. I cannot believe this man is allowed to run for president. This is insanity. Anyway, please vote, because not voting is still giving him a vote. And if you decide to vote for Trump, that is your business. But just everyone go out and vote. I know who I'm voting for. I'm going to deal with the devil I know instead of the devil I had. Because at least this devil, he seems to be passing laws that benefit both sides of the fence. Not just tunnel vision about, in my opinion, his own party. So I personally feel, you just need to get out there and vote. So that's all. Moving on.